Okay, I'm just gonna dive in right now because we serve a God who is so great and so big and so powerful that like I have been dancing and singing and jumping and screaming and running and falling and tripping and laughing and at a loss for words for like almost 24 hours now, and it's not stopping because my God is so faithful. So, wow, where to even begin? All right. The past few weeks, God has been doing a huge thing in my life. Huge, all right? He just threw this thought into my head, and he was like, you, sister, you, Hannah, are gonna walk on water. And I was like, guys, I wanna walk on water. And my friends were like, all right, go for it. And I was like, I can't walk on water, guys. Hello, I'll sink. And that was just the beginning. It started off as like a joke, but God is serious, all right? And last night I met with God in the best of ways. His Holy Spirit grabbed my heart. My heart's not down here, sorry. Grabbed my heart, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna do huge things with you because your whole life adds up to my purpose. Last night, he took my whole life, and he said, look, this is why this happened. This is why you're here. This is why that happened. This is why you read that. And today is just more of that. Okay, so in 2 Chronicles, a couple months ago, a little over a month, I guess, maybe a month and a half ago, I was reading about how when Solomon dedicated the temple of the Lord, and this is when God was like, all right, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to put my presence in a place where you guys can come all the time, where the Israelites can meet with me all the time. And this was a big deal. This was a big deal, all right, to have the temple with God's presence in it. And so Solomon is dedicating it. And this is the first year. Everyone knows, you know, like if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, then I will turn from their wicked ways, and I will look down on from heaven and like heal their land and forgive their sin and all that. Everyone knows that verse, but no one knows that context. No one knows where that comes from. And this year, I got it, and I read Solomon's whole prayer as he's dedicating the temple, and basically he did exactly what I did a couple nights ago. A couple nights ago, I sat outside and I said, you know what, Jesus, you want me to walk on water? Well, I am freaking scared, and I have doubts, and I have fears and insecurities, but I know deep down beneath all of that, I know that you are good. I know that you're good. Even if I don't believe you're good, I know that you're good. And so I'm gonna jump. And Jesus, you know what? You better represent. That's what I said. I said to him, you better show up. You better catch me. You better hold up your end of the deal. And come to find out, that's what Solomon is saying. He takes a whole chapter of the Bible, Solomon's long prayer, saying, God, you know what? You better show up. You better come, and you better forgive us when we mess up, because we're human and we do. You better forgive us when we call to you. You better listen when we cry out, because you are God. You are holy. You are just. Who can contain you? And you said you're going to come. So if you're going to come and show up and be real. And he just lays this out. And that's what I did. And guess what happens in the beginning of verse 7? It says, now when Solomon had made an end of praying, when Solomon stopped saying what he needed from God, when he made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices. Okay, this was in Old Testament times. So Jesus hadn't come yet. The Holy Spirit hadn't been released. So this was literal fire from heaven coming down and burning the sacrifices that the people were giving to the Lord. In today's time, since Jesus has come, in New Testament times, we have the Holy Spirit's fire that comes and it grabs our lives, because we lay our lives down as an offering. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. I'm just excited. We lay our lives down as a burnt offering to the Lord, and the Holy Spirit comes and he takes them. And that's what happened here. It was just pre today. And it came, and the glory of the Lord filled the house. And the priests could not enter into the house of the Lord because the glory of the Lord had filled the house. It was so great that they couldn't even go in. Back then, there was no grace yet. Yes, God is a graceful God, but Jesus hadn't come. The payment hadn't been made for sins yet. So there was still a void. This was us. This was God. Jesus didn't fill the barrier yet. It hadn't happened. So they were believing by faith that God was good and that Christ would come, but he hadn't yet. They were waiting on the promise. Today, we have the promise. We get it. We have it. It's ours to take if we want it. And if we believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, then we are his sons and daughters, and we have the Holy Spirit, and we have the privilege and the gift of being able to enter into God's presence. But back then, that couldn't happen. Not yet. It wasn't time yet. And so the priest couldn't walk in because his presence was there, so real. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire had come down and the glory of the Lord had filled the house, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement, and they worshiped. And they worshiped and they praised the Lord, saying, get this, I didn't know, guys, I didn't connect this until just today. They worshiped and they praised the Lord, saying, for he is good and his mercy endures forever. Guys, like, I'm losing it here. If we worship while we're waiting for healing, while we're waiting for deliverance, if we give God the glory that he needs, if we worship, he comes. When we worship, his presence comes. When we worship, his spirit shows up. When we offer our lives as a sacrifice, he will hold up his end of the deal because he is faithful. He is faithful. I called him out. I said, Jesus, I need you to show up. Yes, I'm going to jump out of the boat, but you better catch me. And he did. I got up and walked to him, and he said, look, we're going to walk on water for a long time, sister. Daughter, you're going to walk with me on water for a long time. It's on my arm. I don't know if you guys can see it, but Jesus and I, we're going to walk on water because I jumped, and not because of anything I did. I don't want it to sound like I did something great, because it was Jesus who even gave me the strength to be able to do it. It was all him. All glory to Jesus. Let him be lifted higher. But even beyond that, the part of this story that makes it epic, epic, is the fact that he showed up. He showed up, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Guys, get up and walk. Get out of the boat that you're in, that boat of fear, that boat of insecurity, that boat of doubt. Get out of it. Get up and walk on the water to Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon.